Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you so very much for tuning into 98.3 FM The Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. And of course, I'm your host, Marty Jalove. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock. We talk about your job, your career, vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. If you miss any of today's episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts to catch this. This is going to be a really cool episode. Today is actually part two, and I don't even know if my guest realizes it's part two of a 6-part series on building a really strong team. Okay, we're going to be actually last year, at the end of last year, we talked about this whole idea of recruiting. We did this a little bit, and now today we're going to be talking about onboarding. Once you've hired that person, what do we have to do to make sure that they love us, we love them, etc. And we're going to get into this. And I couldn't imagine a better person to talk to about this than my friend Leslie Day from Day HR. So Leslie, I could spend all day trying to introduce you, but what I'd like to do is turn the camera on you, have you introduce yourself a little bit. You're on camera. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Give us a little bit of an idea of what HR consulting is, or Day HR Consulting, and where can we find you? Where are you on the internet, social media, etc.?
Okay,
So
gotcha.
the people are waiting to listen to you. Go for it.
Well, thank you for having me, Marty. My name's Leslie Day, Day HR Consulting. I really thought hard on the name of that business, but I help small and middle-sized companies in the Chicagoland area predominantly, which all the day-to-day HR generalist activities. And I also have taught at DePaul University. I don't teach the students. I teach at the adult level, and I teach the certification prep courses for our national certification. And I've taught at DePaul now for 22 years,
Wow.
solidly. Yeah.
Wow.
So I do know best practices for big companies, but also how smaller companies are different and have different, capabilities for having, structured programs like onboarding, like you mentioned. So, yep. So I have an HR help desk where companies can call me every time something interesting happens and have me advise them.
Yes.
I help them with handbooks and performance driven, products, things like that.
Yeah. So you have a website. What's the website?
Mm.
Yes.
DayHRconsulting.
Okay. Easy to
.com.
spell.
Yeah. My
DayHRconsulting.com.
email is Leslie, Leslie at dayhrconsulting.com.
Okay. All right. It's pretty interesting, Leslie, because our paths have crossed a little bit,
Mhm.
and we work together with a couple of different companies. And so, yeah, I without a doubt highly recommend you. So let me ask you: are you always still looking for clients? What's your deal there? Are you still always looking
Yeah,
for more people?
sure.
You're
Yeah.
you're not at the saturation level yet.
No, but most of my clients come from referrals from the clients that I
Sure.
have that are happy with me for whatever reason.
Exactly.
So it is kind of scary having somebody that you tell as a business owner, let's say your private, thoughts about your employees to
Yeah.
somebody you don't know. So I'm always looking for new
I
clients to
I
help.
hear you. You know what I love about this is, Leslie, is that we play the opposing views
Hmm.
because you get to hear the private thoughts from the owners. I
Hmm.
get to hear the private thoughts from the employees,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's cool because I always tell the employees when I work with them as the company happiness coach and
Hmm.
pushing for employee retention,
Hmm.
which is the next step after onboarding, is I tell them I want to have a lot of one-on-ones and you can open your heart to me, open your heart and soul
Hmm.
to me. And but know that if there's something you're telling me that's going to violate the company rules or going to hurt the company, I have to share it with the company. They're the ones paying me. But if there's
Well
some
said.
yeah, but if there's something private, something within you, I'm just I always say that sometimes it's good to talk to a stranger, right?
Hmm.
Or make and I say I'm the strangest friend you're ever going to make and the friendliest stranger you're ever going to meet, right?
Gotcha.
So I share, I keep those kind of things quiet and to myself, but my goal is help them grow. So it's
Hmm.
interesting because both of us are the commonality is we are both helping the company become successful,
Hmm.
but we're both doing it from different ends. So
Yes,
I love it.
absolutely.
I
And
love
and
how
what
we
you
complement each
provide is
other.
so valuable, and
Thank
most
you.
companies don't have somebody like you
Right.
who can relate to the employees and and have it from a happiness perspective, and success is always great. I'm more the hammer,
That's right, right,
on
right.
the side of compliance, and they don't usually call me about their good employees. They usually only call me when there's a challenge
Yeah,
going on.
exactly, exactly. Well, you know what? We need like every company needs you because especially like you said, the small and medium sized companies. What's important is there's so many rules and regulations about HR that are changing. Seems like constantly. And how is a small business person supposed to keep up with it
Mhm.
unless there's someone like you that they can reach out with? Tell me a
Yeah,
little.
I just did
Go,
a seminar for the Lake Zurich Area Chamber of Commerce
yes.
last week on updating employment laws. So
Okay.
look at business organizations that are perhaps local to you, because there's federal laws, there's state laws, and they override federal laws, and there's municipality laws that
Yeah.
override
Oh
both. So you just can't Google in HR and find the right answer.
no, no,
And
you're not
so
quite
have resources.
you're not quite replaced by AI yet, are you?
Not today.
Not today. So tell me a little bit before we get into this, because I want to talk about obviously we're going to talk about onboarding, but I want to talk a little bit more about the importance of HR. And the reason I want to do this is because I think small businesses uh, kind of view it as that's a department we'll grow into.
Mhm,
Okay. And just like you said, not a lot of companies understand what I do for them.
mhm,
And so if a company doesn't even understand the need for HR, they're never going to want someone like me. Okay, but tell me a little bit about what you said. You have like an online a hotline, or what do you call
mhm.
it? Tell
Yeah,
me.
HR help desk,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's a small, monthly amount that businesses pay,
yeah.
and I invoice quarterly, but it allows them to call up, "The employee just told me this, really?" Or,
Okay.
"This happened, what do I do?" Or,
Right, right.
The employee just brought me a doctor slip that said they can't do this and that, what do I do?" I spent a lot of time helping with disability and doctor's notes,
Gotcha,
handling that
gotcha.
legal part. But yeah, it used to be that before about 2020 in Illinois, you had to have 15 employees to have a lot of the compliance discrimination laws kick in.
Okay.
But Illinois passed a law moving it all the way down to one employee,
One employee,
right?
really,
Yeah, they
really.
did it during COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is really no such thing as my business is too small to have to worry about employment laws anymore.
Right, right. And I'll tell you, coming from the world of where I was an employee and I worked
Mhm,
for people, and I was able to elevate my success, let's say,
mhm,
throughout companies at many different levels, and now running my own company. I like looking at it from both points of view, and I sit here as a business owner. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need HR help for one employee, and all of these rules and regulations for one employee. But then you flip it to the other side from the employee standpoint. Why shouldn't we protect one
mhm,
employee?
mhm,
Why should we wait for the company to have 15 before they get that type of protection?
mhm.
So it's always going to be rather than saying it's a double-edged sword, I'm going to say it's a double-sided ice cream
Mhm.
cone. It's good. There's good on both sides.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
good way to look
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's not look at the negative.
and for you, having the employee be valued instead of
Yeah.
like a secondary thought,
Right. Right.
is what we want to avoid. And that's, this conversation we're having now on onboarding is about, celebrating this new employee rather than
Bravo.
having it be like, oh, they're lucky to work here, like in the old days,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
my gosh, you know what? This is amazing. I love this. One of the cool things, and I'm gonna talk to the camera for a second. One of the cool things about the show here is that I don't have a set script. I've got a loose outline that we use, and I'll get to that in a second. But what happens is I don't like to pre-interview the guests. I don't like to say, "Hey, so this is what we're gonna talk about. So make sure we agree here and we agree here, and don't mention this and say this." No, I don't like doing that because I want the truth to come out. And what happens is I end up learning a lot on this show because I bring in experts like you. I
Hmm.
wish I could say I was the expert in everything, but I'm not.
None of
Okay.
us are.
No, right, right. So I bring in an expert like you to learn some of this stuff. And so it's really cool when you say something, I'm like, yes, we're right in sync here.
Hmm.
So what I want to do is kind of just jump on online with along with what you just said here is this idea was I think anyone who's listening, whether you're a business owner or an employee, you can go back years where it was just that you landed the job you really thought you loved and it was really exciting. And then what happens, you show up your first day and they tell you, hey, your office is over there down the hall to the right. You walk in there, there's no computer, it's an empty desk. You sit there, you're like, hello, is anyone going to talk to me? Oh, Bob is your boss, but Bob's in meetings all day. And you're sitting there, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And somebody goes, here, they said, read this manual. And you look at it, and you're wiping the dust off the manual, right? you're blowing the dust off the pages and stuff. And there's things about, when you're using the telegraph, make sure. And you're like, oh my gosh, when was the last time this was updated,
Updated.
right?
Yeah.
And you sit there and you think, how can I succeed in a company like that? Now flip the coin, and this is what we're going to talk about. What about when you walk into a company and the first day you do that, there's a group of people at the door going, "Hey, welcome, welcome. Come on in. There's a couple of different things. Let me show you to your office. But first off, hey, we found out that you really like Dr. Pepper. So we got you a Dr. Pepper here, right?
Mhm.
And come on in here. We want to introduce you to a couple of different people. And what we're going to do is this is going to be a quick introduction. This is Bob. This is blah, 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 blah. This is you immediately report to Bob, and Bob's going to spend some time with you shortly. But in the meantime, let us show you your office. You bring your office, and there's somebody sitting there going, this is Jim. Jim is your mentor, right?
Mm.
He's your guy. And what's going to happen is Jim's going to kind of show you some of the ropes here. And
Mhm.
then what we're doing is we're going to get to the nitty gritty. We're going to start working on some goals and some exciting stuff. We want to hit the ground running, but we want to make sure that you are comfortable.
Mhm.
All right. You look at those comparison between those two, and you're sitting and going, which one do you leave after your first date saying, I found the right company, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think there's real joy in that. And I think too often onboarding is considered by many companies to be it's something I checked off the list. Yeah, I
Mhm.
onboarded them.
Mhm.
Now, why aren't they working? Okay, and we have to work together. You and me, Leslie.
Mhm.
We're gonna change the mindset of the world. Okay,
Yeah.
and tell them that this onboarding is really important, and there's great ways to do this so that the customers that you fought so hard to get will succeed in your company.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, new hire orientation has grown up, and now it's onboarding.
Yes. Yes.
And so we like to make sure that we are not just looking at that first initial exposure with the company is like, fill out these forms.
Yep.
You're going to have some medical insurance and figure it out.
Yeah. Figure it out. Right. Right.
Those are the ones that, sometimes this could be so automated
Yes.
that everybody's just got to figure it out on their own. And I don't think that's a good strategy
No.
either
No.
for
No.
expediency or things like that. But yeah, yeah. You know, um, Anything that celebrates, an employee, I'm gung ho and supporting. So
Yeah,
you're right.
there you go. So I got all kinds of notes, and I'm
Mhm,
sure you got a head full of ideas. So
mhm,
what we're going to do is first off, this is the idea of the show. The reason the show is called Bacon Bits is because everything bacon touches becomes just a little bit better. Okay, and I'm not always talking about the bacon for chewing. You know the tagline, Leslie. No, I'm not talking about the bacon for chewing. I'm talking about the bacon for doing. Okay, so
oh,
that's what we're talking about here.
there we
All
go.
right, that's a test to see how often you listen to the show. Now you're making me cry, Leslie. All right, no, no. So what we do is use bacon as a loose outline for the show, and I really stress a loose outline because I'm going to list some things that I'd like to see if we can talk about.
Mhm,
But at any one of those points, if we find an interesting tangent, that's where the show is
mhm,
going. Okay, so today's bacon the idea of onboarding, how to really be successful in onboarding is going to be this. B is the begin with culture, that
mhm.
immersion into culture. Really teach the new or introduce the new hires into your culture so they truly understand it. And
And can support it.
yeah,
They have to be hired with the expectation that they're going to positively augment the culture rather than pull it
yes.
downward.
Yes, yes, exactly, which definitely goes into the hiring part of it, right?
Mhm,
A is going to be this, align expectations.
mhm,
Clear communication right from the beginning so we all make sure that we understand this is why I hired you, this is what you're going to be doing, etc. Right?
mhm,
So it's that clear communication telling you these are the people you're going to talk to, these are the people you're going to be working with, etc. So make it all clear in the beginning. C is connect via community. Okay. In other words, you are part of a team. You are not a lone wolf. You're not sitting in a desk all by yourself, wondering who the rest of the people are. We're going to connect you to the community
mhm,
because there's no department that lives on its own. We all intermingle with everybody else.
mhm,
And the only way to succeed is consider us all one big community. Okay. O is going to be optimize the experience. Okay. And this is this team introduction again. This is where we start getting into more of the procedures manual and really making that procedures manual work and help
mhm,
and doing everything to make it efficient, making the path to success efficient.
mhm,
Okay. And then finally is N, notice and notify. In other words, I want you, to the new hire, to keep talking to me with this open communication about what's going on, what you expected, what's different than what you expected,
Mhm.
what's better than you expected, and vice versa. I've got to communicate with you about my expectations. And early on, just keep talking about, are you reaching them? Are you succeeding? Are you missing them? Are you missing them because I wasn't clear, etc. Okay. Because why spend all this time and money hiring you, letting you loose, and then 30, 60, 90 days later going, yeah, you're just not working out. And the person goes, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was unclear. Okay. So
Horrible.
we got a couple of different directions to go in, but
Sounds yummy.
yeah, you like that. Very good. I love it. All right. So this first part about immersion, what do you feel about, how do you establish, or how would you teach a company to teach company culture, the culture? How would you help somebody understand it during onboarding?
Sure. You know, especially for small business owners who might have had limited other exposures to businesses, they don't have the words to communicate why their place is different. They know it from the top
Yep.
viewpoint, but not from the bottom up viewpoint. So I always suggest, and I tie this into the performance review. Okay,
Okay.
I ask top management to say, why is it great to work here? Why is it that employees want to come here and not the competition? Why do they stay? What do they enjoy most? And ask the employees as well. So looking at it from the top down is not effective. You need to get the words and the opinions of the culture generators, right?
Right.
The culture to a certain extent is dictated by some policies like
Yep.
dress code and things like that, or you know, Friday afternoons in the summer are off or things like that. But in general, the enjoyment of the day to day job is really all about how do I magnify and succeed in this environment, and you have to give me those words. I can't guess those words.
I like that. I like that a lot. So my feeling, and so I'm going to throw this in and jump in at any point, is when, if I'm running my company and I'm bringing people in, I want to really immerse them in who we are.
Mhm.
I want to talk about my origin story.
Mhm.
What
History
started
is
us?
great.
Yeah, and what's our direction? I want to talk with them, these new hires, about our mission. This is exactly what we do, and this is the part you play in the mission.
Mhm.
Right? I want to talk about our vision, where we're going, all right, where we hope to go. This is what we're identified as, all right, and get them excited about that and say, you're a pivotal part of that direction. We cannot climb that hill without you, right? And then, more important, or not more important, but one of the most important things to me is always the core values,
Mhm.
what we stand for. Okay. And if you think about, the mission is the why we're doing this, and the vision is where we're headed. The core values are those guardrails that keep us on
Mhm.
the trail.
Help them
A-
make decisions when they
yes.
don't know exactly what to do.
Oh, you're speaking my language. This is
Mhm.
beautiful.
Mhm.
You're right, because I cannot give my employees any autonomy unless I have those core values in place. And I really, really work with you on those core values.
Mhm.
And I understand that you understand what those mean.
Mhm.
Every employee should be able to recite the core values, right? And understand
Mhm.
the meanings, and not only what they mean to the entire company, what they mean individually to their department, and what they mean individually to the person.
And that it's not a hypocritical concept, but an actual day-to-day lived,
Yes.
experience.
Yeah, yeah, because, when I work with some companies, Leslie, and, they're like, they hire me to do this whole overview of their company, see what this was like, because they're doing something about, I don't know, we're losing customers, we're having problems with vendors, or we're losing employees, our employees aren't happy, what's going on? One of the first things I do is I start with that company culture, and I talk about the core values, and it's amazing because they go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we got the core values." I'm like, "Where are they?" We wrote them on the wall. There was some, but it used to hang on the wall. I'm like, "Do you know the core values?" I don't know. There was something about honesty, and I can't remember them all. And I'm like, "Wow, if you can't remember them, how can you expect your people to remember them and live by them?"
Mhm.
Right? These are not just words on the wall. Just like, onboarding is not a checkoff box where you say,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we onboarded them. Now just go succeed." Right? So you have to live with that, and you have to immerse all your people in them.
Mhm.
And like you said, if I'm going to give my employees some autonomy, some decision making, they have to be able to say, I made this decision based on these values,
Mhm.
right? Uh,
I like your comment about vision too, because if top management is focused on here's how we need our customers to perceive us in 2 to 3 years,
yeah,
all the voices that talk to those customers have to be saying that kind of a
That's it.
comment.
That's it.
And they're not just you don't want them guessing, you know?
Right, right.
So you role play for them. Give them. Here's where we need you're a critical part of this, and here's how you're a critical part. Connect the dots.
Yep, yep. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Mhm,
All right. So let's get into A really quick here.
mhm,
And this is align the expectations, that clear communication. All right. There was that perfect line my wife tells me all the time, which is clarity is kindness.
mhm.
Right? Okay. You like that too,
Yeah, very
right?
good.
Yeah. And it's really important that as a speaker, when I still do a lot of public speaking, but when I did even more, then it was this idea of learning that just because I said it doesn't mean you heard it.
Mhm,
Okay. And it's this idea of making sure that's the follow up. It's as your leader or mentor, and we'll get to that in a while, but as your team leader, I give you some instructions, I give you some goals and stuff, but I also have to find out if you understand them
mhm,
and you understand how they fall into the greater company goal, right?
mhm,
And the more we do that, even if we had to end the show right now, okay, the way I'm looking at it is you look at this first part about culture and you talk about clarity and communication.
mhm,
Those two things, if you can have that, just that, think of how amazing these employees are going to react
mhm,
because they feel like they're part of a company.
mhm,
They don't feel like an employee, they feel like a partner in the company,
mhm.
right?
Absolutely, I agree.
So
Yeah.
how do you help businesses, or do you get involved in this? Uh, instructing them to be better about their way they communicate. You
Sure. Yeah, I've seen that many managers are vague with their expectations, and
Yep.
there has been some data that shows something like 87% the last time I saw it of employees don't know what's expected of them.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
your managers sit down in performance review discussions and they talk about concepts, but what the employee really needs to know is what do I do? You know,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
I always I work with performance review, performance management systems, and I always give that out during the onboarding process. I
Good.
think an employee needs to know what they're going to be assessed in 6 months or a year.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also, I train the managers on a couple things. So I have them not leave the employee meeting anytime, either they're coaching them or they're doing a formal performance review. Make sure that they know what to do or not do,
Right.
what to say or not say, or what outcome they need to generate.
Oh, I like
If
that.
they
Yeah.
can come up with those clarity things, I leave this meeting, I know what I'm supposed to do or not do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not say is the gossip thing,
Yeah, yeah.
what to say to the clients, whatever. And then what outcome, many companies are more KPI or data driven than others, but still, what's it going to look like when you've done it right? I need to be told by my manager, if I did this up to your expectation, what's it going to look like? Oh, maybe they can describe that.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. Man, I'm loving this.
Hmm.
This is great. So I look at it is, especially when you first onboard someone, I want to make it so clear that I want to tell them this is what I'm expecting from you within the first 30 days,
Hmm.
60 days, 90 days, right away, because I think that sets the expectation of we want you to succeed.
Hmm.
And I'm going to be talking with you on a regular basis because I don't want to wait. In the old days, I remember back a while ago, okay, when I was much younger, having that thing where it was a yearly review
Yeah.
and you talk to your manager every once a year, right? And then I would always get that, yeah, you're just not living up to expectations. It took you a year to tell me that, right? Here I'm
What
sitting.
are expectations?
Right, right, exactly.
87% don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? And so, one of the things is I'm gonna piggyback on what you had just said about this is, and this is right before we take the break. It's already the bottom of the hour. Can you believe that? This how quick it
We
goes
have
when
to
we're having
talk
fun.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I want to do this. Is my feeling is I always try to tell the employee these four things: is this is what success looks like, this is what failure looks like,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
This is the rewards to expect with success. These are the consequences that are tied to failure.
Mhm.
It does not mean that if we fail at a project, you automatically get fired. That's
Mhm.
not it. The consequences could be we lost the customer. and you might have learned something. Let's not repeat it. Okay.
Mhm.
And the rewards don't mean you're going to get more money. The rewards mean is we're growing and we
Mhm.
got great publicity.
Mhm.
It's not just an individual reward or an individual consequence. It's you remember you're part of a team. So what does success look for you and the team and the company? What does failure look like for you, the team, and the company? What is the reward and what
Mhm.
is the consequence? And I
Mhm.
think it's a good thing that, like I said, trying to keep it clear as possible, just like you were saying.
Yeah,
Now,
and employees have the responsibility for checking in with their boss,
yes,
and like you said, waiting to the, end of the year, that's never a successful path. I can't imagine
not at
it
all.
ever be. Yeah, so I always tell employees that they have a responsibility for checking in and saying, "Okay, how am I doing?
Yep, yep.
What did I do last week that I could have done better?" Like, be as specific so they don't just go, "Oh, you're doing fine." That doesn't help.
No, that means nothing.
But to your point as well is I think, all the communications in the onboarding and, process should be success focused.
I agree. Yep,
And
yep,
so telling somebody how to be successful if you've got multiple people in the room from
yeah.
different departments can be kind of hard. And I think often having their manager reinforce that and know that what we say to them in maybe HR or whatever in the onboarding, that their manager has the same story. So management needs to get together, and have it so that they have a common success like the vision,
Yep,
is
yep.
an idea that's in words, okay? They have to have success in words so that the employee knows how to bring them up in conversations for confirmation.
Excellent. All right. Everyone, please stay tuned. We're going to come back with my guest, Leslie Day from Day HR Consulting. You're going to want to really tune into the show. Whether you're an employee or you own a small business, you're contemplating building a business, you're looking to hire your first employee or your 100th employee, whatever it is, tune into this. And if you missed the first part of the show, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts. This is a show you don't want to miss. So just give us a couple moments. We're going to play a couple announcements from some of the other shows and the people who support the station, and we will be right back. Thank you so much. And we are back. Thank you so very much for staying tuned in to 98.3 FM, The Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock, and I talk with some amazing guests, and there's nobody amazinger than Leslie Day. You like that word?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's my radio show. I can invent words. All right.
totally.
Leslie Day from Leslie Day HR Consulting. This is part two of a six-part series on onboarding. This is probably one of the most important parts about new hires. When we spend so much money hiring somebody, going after great talent, bringing them in, we're going to be training them in that. But the onboarding of getting them to understand how they fit in, how they are a puzzle piece within the great puzzle of our company. It's so important so that they feel welcome, so that they say, "Hey, this is the right place for me." Okay, so we're talking a little bit more. We've been talking about the bacon. Obviously, we always do this, and the B was, of course, begin with culture, the immersion into culture, who we are, what we're about, and they should have had an introduction to that during the interview process. But once they're hired, we want to really make sure that they understand who we are. Then we get into align the expectations. This is all about clear communication. We don't want to leave them guessing, right? We want them to walk through the steps. What's happening in the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. How do you succeed in this company? Also, the clear communication is getting a chance to talk to them about what do you need from us. Okay, so with that, I on the little mini break, we talked about some of the stuff that when I know I talk with some companies, they're like, the honest communication. I could tell them everything they need to know in 30 seconds. Okay, and I'm like, really? I don't think you could tell them in 30 minutes or 30 days, right? There's so much. So, Leslie, I want you talked a little bit about this nonprofit you're working with.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
what are some of the things that, whether you list it or that, you don't have to go into great detail, but what are some of the other things that really need to be covered other than culture and duties, but some of the other things that need to be covered in the onboarding process that
Sure.
really need to be covered clearly?
Sure. Well, this nonprofit had a marvelous mission for helping victims of domestic abuse. And they had lots and lots of taped training material on all the different laws and areas that they might assist them in. But it came off cold, right? So the employees that were hired there are helpers, they're givers. That's why they want to work at a place like that. So they needed to be welcomed like a warm hug. okay, versus like a cold, here's a list of the training that you'll have. And it had been done previously almost like from an IT standpoint. Here's your password, here's your laptop, don't call us if the laptop doesn't work. We have an outside vendor that helps us with the laptop. So it just came off as not like the warm hug. To me, I would want the employee to leave that first day and go, I am so smart to have decided to work at this place. This place is like me. They care like I do. So, if you don't have a nonprofit and you don't have that same mission, still you want to have it so that the people that you hire come in and feel embraced. They feel like this is where I want to put my effort, my commitment, my loyalty, my engagement, right? Our big word engagement
Yep.
now. And the way to do that is to have a plan, okay? And I like having it to be a written plan, modified for, departments or jobs, and have it so that the employee is responsible for making sure that the plan works out. They have to be responsible. They're not just being like children in kindergarten here. So I like to have them have a check off at the conclusion. This was, I think, a 3 month onboarding. At the conclusion of the 3 months, they would sign it, make sure that their manager and them had all blessed all of it. And then HR, you should be periodically, we do it after the first 2 weeks, after and every month thereafter, asking the employee, okay, is this what you thought it was going to look like? Are you satisfied with the help you're getting? Everybody's busy, right?
Right.
So how do you have an open door policy that's really not like an open door, but everybody's too busy to help you?
There you go.
And make sure that their response is utilized. Don't ask somebody their opinion if you're not going to use their answer, right? That's the worst feeling. So that's what I would think.
I love it. I love it. I was sitting here going, "Oh man, we're on." That's the letter A. We got CONN, and I just gave her the mic. I let her run away with the show.
Oh
No,
gosh,
no, no,
I'm
no, no.
sorry.
You're fine. You're fine, Leslie. I'm just teasing you here, because that's all really important ideas about communication that we have to be clear with all of that kind of
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm,
Okay, and what I like is because of that, you were leaning in towards letter C for us, which is this connect via community, and
mhm,
this is where we talk a lot about a mentor or a buddy system.
mhm,
Okay. And I know we talked a little bit about this idea before when we were talking briefly in the green room, and I want to touch on this. But this idea of when I view hiring a new person in, that without a mentor, the only person they can rely on is their immediate report, right? Who is the person that shouldn't be spending all that time working with them? They should be doing other things. Hopefully they're in charge of multiple things. They've got other meetings, they've got decisions to make. They can't be holding the hand of the employee. If they had that much time, then you wouldn't need the employee, right? That person could do the job, right?
okay,
That's
yeah,
that's kind of a rough edged statement, but the idea of a mentor or a buddy works so well because if you liken it to any situation, I'm new somewhere. I walk in, everyone there has an inside joke. Everyone is comfortable with each other. Everyone knows, oh, that's Natalie's seat. Don't sit over there.
uh-huh,
That type of stuff. Or don't put your lunch in the refrigerator over there because that's for this. Okay, all those little things that are not in the manual, right?
mhm,
And you need somebody, a friend in there to walk you around and introduce you to people.
mhm,
Okay. Think about this. We've been in the same
mhm,
chambers of commerce, and it's cool to have somebody who, when you first come in and you're meeting a business, meeting other businesses,
mhm,
they have a buddy there who says, "Hey, I want to introduce you to some people.
mhm,
Hey, I know what you do. You might want to meet this person or that person." It just makes the system so much easier because you don't want somebody to fail at your company because they didn't know the other people.
mhm,
They didn't know that I need to give this report to this person.
mhm,
I should check with this person if
mhm,
if I'm violating a rule or something
mhm,
like that, right?
mhm,
So it's really important to start that whole idea. And one of the things was it's I know I've been new at many companies, right? And there's everybody who's new has something I would consider the silly question.
mhm.
Like, I don't know.
And everybody asks a silly question.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I don't know who to ask that question to, right? Either I have to quickly make a friend or I have to find out the answer by mistake. Okay. So it's really important to find that mentor to do that.
Mhm,
Okay. So
yeah,
we talked a little bit about the difference between does the employee find a mentor or do we assign a mentor? So tell me, because I know I already agree with you, but go for it.
yeah, you mentioned an employee's afraid to ask their boss.
Yeah.
Maybe they already got told and they don't remember, and now the boss is gonna say, "Well, I already told you that answer." So having somebody that's casual that they can, no judgment zone
Yep.
kind of,
Yep.
is so important, I think that the company should not only, assign, the mentor, but they should train the mentor,
Yeah. Yeah.
on
I
what
know.
their
I know
role
where.
is.
I know where you're
Yeah.
going.
Manager's got all these responsibilities, but a mentor's got like a zone that
Yep. Yep.
they know what they're understand that. Uh, the things we don't want personal thing. Oh, he just got divorced.
They shouldn't be talking.
Oh,
No. No.
well, there's laws that they can, but we don't ever encourage
I
that,
wouldn't
right?
encourage it. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like you said about jokes or don't use that refrigerator.
Yeah.
That should have been covered at the beginning, but a bit, like that to go through, maybe give that to the mentor and delegate that responsibility to
Right.
the mentors. But
Well,
yeah.
well, look at it this way. Here, I'm going to throw something by you. Is this? Can you imagine, uh, Leslie? If I said, "Hey, Leslie, there's an opening here at the radio station. We want you to have your own show once a week." I go, I got like 15 minutes. I'm going to run through every where to park, how to use what the four monitors in front of me do, what every one of these buttons do, what this control
And
panel
you're gonna
does over here.
verbally show me.
Right. I'm going to verbally tell you, only take 15 minutes, and then I'm going to hand you an old manual that I'm going to go. And if you got any questions, I got to tell you, the manual refers to old equipment. We never updated it to the new equipment. Good luck. And you're on the. How could we possibly expect you to succeed? Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Be look at this is, looking more like a risk than a benefit.
Yeah, exactly. Right, right.
Mhm.
Because now I'm so stressed about just doing my job. Just doing it, I'm stressed about. Not even can I succeed at it. I'm stressed about just doing my job. I'm stressed about what am I going to do in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I don't I'm unclear.
Mhm.
Now, let me ask about this with the mentor taking on this role of training. Do you believe that the mentor takes on a certain amount of responsibility, either to employee or to the company? In other words, does the mentor go back and say, "I don't know if this person's going to make it," or "Hey, I think again, no gossip, but you've gotta learn this. You got 30 days. You gotta hit this 30 days. I'm telling you this, but you're not picking this up." Like, what is the mentor's job really when you break it down? What
Mhm.
do companies expect, or what should companies expect out of a mentor helping an employee? What's their responsibilities? What are they held responsible for? What do you think?
Well, I think it's unique to each company. I think everybody needs to be in agreement and clear. You don't want somebody who's been told, "This is your confidential mentor,"
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then they're supposed to go in and tattle.
Right. Right.
I personally like just having it be somebody who is accountable to the employee as like a secret helper.
I like that.
But they need to stress success. So their
Okay.
job is to have this employee understand and for them to get coached by the mentor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, things they didn't do so good, help them understand why it was viable that the boss didn't like that or something like that. If they have awareness or knowledge of it, it could be that a mentor's in a different department and they don't have that close a tie with the actual, depending on how big the company is,
Okay.
with the actual person's performance. But, you have to be clear. If the person is gonna be reporting back, then that should be communicated.
Yeah, yeah, I like that because it always goes back to that clear
Mhm,
communication.
mhm,
So I like because you had mentioned that just really briefly. The mentor could be from another department, which is so true. Because let's focus again on what's the purpose of the mentor. The
mhm,
mentor is to not necessarily help them with their job specific.
mm-mm,
It is to help them acclimate to the company. With that, they can be in another department because
mhm,
they're going to teach them certain things like
mhm,
that, right? Uh, and so I believe that there are certain things that the mentor is going to go. Let's say you're the owner of the company. I'm the mentor, and I'm going to come. Hey, Leslie, I'm mentoring Sally, and I keep telling her, do not sit over there in the lunchroom. And no matter how many times I tell her, she goes, I'm sitting anywhere I want. All right. The mentor's got to be able to share that with someone. All
mhm.
right. Otherwise, if I was the owner and I'd be like, what kind of a mentor are you? You never told her not to sit there, right?
Or
So
her word versus yours, yeah.
right, right. So there's got to be some communication, and it's the same thing with I want as the team leader, I'm going to check on my new hire,
Mhm,
find out. I made clear expectations: 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, etc. I made clear expectations of what you're supposed to do. I'm going to have open communication with that with employee,
mhm,
making sure they're on task. I'm not
mhm,
waiting to the end and go, yeah, you didn't do it. I'm going to continue to communicate with the open door,
mhm,
but now I think we also have to do this whole thing with I have to also have to communicate with the mentor
mhm,
and say, all right, it's not your job. You're not going to fire the person, but I need to get a feeling for the person. Is
mhm,
the person receptive? Have you
mhm,
found give me some clues on your help? What is the person receptive to? How do you
mhm,
think they learn? What's
mhm,
been going on? What are some of the things you've been talking about?
mhm,
Just
mhm,
that type of thing
mhm.
in general, because I want to know a little bit more about the employee all around, right?
Sure, their
So
their effort, their focus, is definitely is the person even trying?
yeah,
Well,
yeah, and as a team leader, what ends up happening is every time I see Sally, she sees me and she's working away, right? She's a diehard, but the mentor might be the one going, "Yeah, but as soon as you walk away, Marty, she's
negative comments,
right,
that's
right."
bad. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, she's gossiping. The first thing she does is she's on her phone texting, she's on social media all day, whatever the deal is. I come in to talk to her. Do you need any help? She's like, "Nah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Hey, take a look at this video." And I'm like, you're getting that report done? Oh, I got plenty of time to get that report done. There's all kinds of things like that that the mentor is the mentor's job is to befriend the new
Mhm.
employee,
Guide.
but
Mhm.
right, but guide, perfect, guide, befriend, etc., but not cover for the new
Mhm.
employee.
Of course, yeah.
Right. And
Absolutely.
so there's that gentle balance between the two.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I love this because just
Yeah.
talking it out, suddenly the mentor really holds some great responsibility.
Yeah. So concerns should be communicated and there would be, I think having a mentor training program
Yep.
is the way to go because then you have listed what their role is.
Yep. Yep.
Management agrees with what their role is.
Right. Right.
And it's not like they're winging it, thinking about what they're supposed to do, or maybe even promising the employee, "Hey, look, I'm not going to tell on you."
Right.
Well, that
Right.
would be a problem,
Yep.
right? In
Yep.
your scenario.
Beautiful. And so Leslie, I'm going, right beforehand, you were talking to me about Marty, you should start looking at a big grin on your face. I love it.
Yeah.
You start looking at the mentor training program. And I told you, hey, we'll talk about it a little afterwards. And now I'm talking on it live.
Well, I
If
think you could be, you'd be very excited about that,
Oh my God, yes.
and
Yes.
being a mentor should be a positive. It's an opportunity for that
100%.
employee to get some points for showing that they have additional capabilities,
Yes, yes.
and so I think it's a promotable scenario
Right,
for
right.
employees.
Yeah.
But we want to also make sure that it's like you said that they're just not flapping around out there, not knowing what to do or say.
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually interesting because part of my job when I'm working with companies is I'm finding senior members and newer members, and I'm assigning mentors within
Hmm.
companies anyway. And
Hmm.
it's funny because I'm training those mentors on what to do anyway. I'm telling them,
Yeah.
don't just say, hey, this is what I do, watch what I do. No, I'm training them and working with them. And since this is my whole company, basically, because I'm mentoring business owners, I'm mentoring team
Mhm,
leaders,
mhm.
etc. It's cool because I'm currently looking at some people because I might be expanding my business.
Mm.
So I'm looking for people who are going to mimic me. Okay. But I'm looking for people uh, who complement me, not
Mhm,
duplicates of me. I always
mhm.
say this world does not need another Marty. Okay.
Sure, we could use another Marty, but
Well,
that's a
thank
great
you.
idea, but
Yeah.
you're right. We don't wanna hire a bunch of, remember the old Stepford Wife, movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta have,
I don't know if that's so bad, but no.
but, the point though is, there are some folks that hire people just like me, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when we do training on interviewing, we say, "No, no, you wanna have, open the door up for different, avenues for success."
There you go. I agree with you. I agree with you. So we're going to talk more about training mentors. I like this idea. I want to pick your brain more on that. So I want to get into O here because can you believe this? We're almost at the end of the show.
"Oh, no.
Yeah, the second half always
We
moves a
gotta
little
get our O
faster.
and our N in."
Right. So we're going to do these. So I'm going to squeeze these in both together. Okay. So we can do this. Is O is going to be optimize the experience. In other words, and what we're talking about is this is where whether it's the mentor, the team leader, etc., really starts introducing people to the rest of the team and
Mhm,
understanding them.
mhm.
And that ties really closely with what the mentor can do. Because the team leader is going to say, and this is Leslie. She's in charge of HR. If you need any questions, this person you reach out to. But the mentor might be able to go, "Oh my God, Leslie is a doll. Leslie understands. Leslie's got she's all ears. She wants to listen to you. She asks the right questions, gets to the core of the problem, understands it. She's the perfect person to talk to." So the mentor is going to help us out a little bit with
Mhm,
that. But
mhm.
always that optimize that experience is start out with the little here's the list of people you need to talk to, but more so walk them over and say, so this is Johnny. I was telling you about Johnny's in accounting, right? And this is so Johnny, this is our new hire, Bill, etc. Yeah, I want you guys to meet each other. So this is what Johnny does. You probably won't have much conversation with him. If you ever have any questions on financing, like a bill or something like that, an invoice not being paid, don't go to Johnny right away. Instead, go to this person and just kind of explain that whole
Yeah.
process, right?
I like hitting them even before they're hired. So at the last company, I worked for a payroll company. When
Okay.
we'd hire somebody, we had lots of tchotchke kind of things like
Yeah.
that because it was payroll. We had so we'd make a little box of stuff. We'd take a picture of all the team going like "Yay,
Nice,
welcome!"
nice. Yeah.
and put it right on the front, and we sent it to them.
Nice.
So they got the opening the box experience kind of thing, but they saw their team members, and it was like no food because food's hard to do. It has to be like tchotchke.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you want them to get enrolled from the minute they accept the job.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. All right. So the N here is going to be this. The N in our bacon is notice and notify. So just in case you weren't paying attention, while we've gone through the entire bacon already, we've done B is begin with culture. A is align expectations. That's clear communication. C is connect via community. That's where we talk about mentorship. O is optimize the experience, introducing to the team. And N is notice and notify. This is measuring success. And we've talked a lot about this already about how me as the team leader, I'm going to continue to communicate with them and the mentor. What am I going to learn from the
Mhm.
mentor? Now, what?
Follow up.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I want to throw to you and tell me what you think of this is I tell any new hire this. I say that I want to give you two things, and I only want one thing back in return. Okay. And the two things are this. When I say I have an open door policy, I truly have an open door policy. I want you to come and talk to me because what I want to do is give you the experience at our company so incredible that if you decide to leave, it's one of the most difficult decisions you ever have to make. That's number one. The second thing is if you do leave, I want you to look back at the time you've spent here and say it wasn't wasted. I learned so much. I grew. I'm proud to put this on my resume.
Mhm.
Those are the two things I want to give you, right? I
Mhm.
want you to be part of this. I want you to grow with us. I want you to be partially responsible for our success.
Mhm.
Those are what I want to give you. And the only thing I ask from you in return is deserve it. Okay.
There you go.
So I like doing that because and then I have to live up to it. I
Mhm.
can't say I have an open door and every time somebody comes to it, I shut the door, you
I'm
know?
too busy, right?
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
S-
Yeah, I always say, that I think that they're very wise to have chosen to come to this company,
There
and
you
I'm
go.
very
Yeah.
confident that they're going to see that it's been, that they're beginning a really great, part of their life journey in working. I think having a positive expectation like that is just, invaluable. It's kinda like that's like the last sentence I would say if I
Okay.
was onboarding a new hire. So everything that we say for the first 6 months to a year to an employee
Yep.
is going to be taken within their limited context. So we have to pretend
Y-
we're them,
Yes.
okay? We can't be, like, thinking we're the manager, and so we wanna have some lines. I actually write lines down for managers to use for new hires that say things, "So far, so good,"
Yeah.
things like, encouraging
Yes,
words,
yes.
so that they feel comfortable and they're not real corporate-y sounding,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
real people sounding.
Right, right. Yeah, we're people talking to people. That's what
Mhm,
it should be.
mhm,
Okay, so some of the things that I look at is it was interesting because you said the line or something like this when we're done with onboarding,
mhm.
and my feeling is onboarding never finishes.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, because and you're like, yeah, yeah, shut up. I do this for a
yeah.
living, Marty. All right,
No,
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 no, no.
no.
I'm joking.
If the
Yeah,
idea of that is perfect,
yeah,
exactly.
and because what happens is if we truly believe our company is evolving and growing onboarding has got to continue to grow and
Mhm,
evolve
mhm,
because people do grow away from the business,
mhm,
right? People change and they either grow with us or they grow away from us, right?
mhm.
But the important things I want to be as a business owner or a team leader, I want to be responsible for growth. And if I lose an employee, I don't want to lose them because they failed at their expectations. And especially I don't want them to fail because I didn't communicate it
Mhm.
correctly. That's
Right.
the worst part. I want them to grow and I want them to be able to come to me one day and going, I think I've done everything I can for the company. My dreams and my aspirations are different than what the company offers. And I hate to say it, but I want to move on. I want to hug that person, right? And I
Mhm.
know I can't, but I want to hug
Yeah.
them anyway and
Feel
just
hug.
yeah, and just say, congratulations, awesome. What do you need from me? Because I want to make your next step successful. I want you to even leaving here to be successful. Okay,
Mhm.
because we are going to continue to grow and change. And as the environment outside of us, the things we can't control, as they change, our
Well,
companies change.
employees come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
and it
we
can.
also call that stay interviews,
Oh, I like
where
that.
we have somebody that has, that especially high performers. Every 6 months, we sit down and we have a, "Are you stay you're staying here. What can I do to make you stay? Are your
Yeah,
expectations
yeah,
getting met?" I only have done it with high performers. I know some companies try to do it with everybody,
sure, sure.
and I haven't gotten that point yet, so.
Well, I'll tell you on that note. So I'm doing some classes. I've done a number of different workshops on employee retention
Mhm.
specifically,
Okay.
and everyone always says, "Ah, you just give them more money." And I'm like, "Wow, that is not the answer." I love how you're shaking your head. No, that is not the answer. Because if we all work just for money, we'd all be brain surgeons or rocket scientists,
Well, and
right?
there's laws about pay. If the one person gets more pay and the other person doesn't, they're disappointed. But it
Yeah,
also can cause problems with laws about
yeah, yeah.
pay equity. So, especially in Illinois, here we have to be a lot more knowledgeable about that. So, pay
Gotcha.
is not a throw it at a person kind of a scenario
Right,
in our
right.
legal environment.
Yeah, I love it.
So, what
So
else? What else do they want that we can see about getting them?
yeah, yeah,
At
and
Get
they're
into their head and have them ask.
right, right, and sometimes it's so many simple things. Sometimes people just want a challenge. Sometimes people just want to feel needed. They want to feel like they're a part of something bigger than them.
If I could start 15 minutes later so my kids were on the school bus, that'd be huge,
How
and you're
about it?
like, "Whoa, that was easy."
Yeah, exactly. That's all you have to do. That's awesome, right? Right. How about when you do something like, I always ask if they go, I just need to make more money. I go, all right. So if you don't mind me asking, if you made more money, what would you be doing with it? And the person goes, I can never afford to go on vacation. And I sit there as a business owner, I'd say, let me see. I have some friends, I have associates through networking. What if I could set a goal for you? And if you do this, I'll give you a vacation. Okay, as a bonus, something like that,
Wow,
or I give you a part of the vacation. All right, so now all this person goes, "Oh my god, that would be amazing!" And what ends up happening now is I've given the person an incentive to grow. I'm not just giving them a raise, which I get a raise 30,
that's
60 days later. I go, it wasn't enough. I need more money, right? So
that's a
let's
mindset.
let's give them a goal, something to shoot for,
Mhm.
something amazing, and make it personal. Because someone else is going to be like, I don't want to go on vacation. Don't give me a vacation. I want something else. So
Well,
what we
and more money doesn't go to the complainer, more money goes to the person who invested in
yes,
themselves and made them more valuable.
I love it. I love
So,
it.
yeah, the squeaky wheel should never get greased. That's a bad precedent.
I'm agreeing. Hey, Leslie, I have to thank you. We're like right down to the end. I
Thank you
want
for having me, Marty.
yeah,
This has been fun.
this has been very fun. I always say the funnest shows are the ones that go the quickest,
Mhm.
right? We're right at the end of the hour. So I just want to tell everyone thank you so much for listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. We're going to end up turning the station back on so you'll be able to listen to some music. But if you missed any part of the show, tune in later in the week and listen to the podcast, Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts.
And there's a bunch of them out there. You could for hours listen to, Marty's wisdom, so do it.
Yeah, actually, I think it's about 235 episodes. Can you believe that?
I
Yeah,
I did not know that, but
that
I knew there were a lot,
yeah,
so
there you go.
they're all great.
Thank you so very much. And so this has been part 2 of this idea of building a great team, and this is a great series to listen to, whether you're a business owner, you're contemplating building a new business, you're looking to hire your first person, your 10th person, your 100th person, or whatever, or even if you're an employee, so that you can see what you should expect in the next company you want to work with. So thank you very much. Tune in every week to the station and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Leslie.
Get your bacon.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.